What if one of the greatest challenges facing the legal profession isn't legal at all? Welcome to Brief Encounters, the DC Bar Communities podcast. I'm Abi Baxendale, the manager of communities events, and today we're introducing the DC Bar's new lawyer well-being community, as well as our new podcast series, The 6 Pillars of Well-Being, which focuses on helping attorneys thrive both professionally and personally. We'll also be speaking with the staff of the DC Bar's Lawyer Assistance Program to learn more about the resources and support they provide to members of the legal profession. We are all so excited to launch the Lawyer Wellbeing Community. The community was created in response to growing interest in wellness programming among DC Bar members. At the same time, bar associations across the country have placed increasing emphasis on lawyer well-being, recognizing that personal wellness is essential to professional success. With the support of DC Bar leadership and the enthusiasm of our members and volunteers, we saw an opportunity to create a space dedicated to helping lawyers prioritize their well-being, connect with one another, and build healthier, more sustainable careers. A working group has been meeting monthly, and during one of these meetings, a member introduced us to the concept of the 6 pillars of well-being. I hadn't heard of them before, but they explained what these pillars do is they provide a framework for understanding the different areas of life that contribute to overall wellness and balance. Widely attributed to the work of physician and public health expert Dr. Bill Hetler, who co-founded the Natural Wellness Institute in 1976 and developed the model to describe wellness as a multifaceted concept. The 6 pillars of well-being are occupational, emotional, physical, intellectual, spiritual, and social. And in our new podcast series, members of the lawyer well-being community will explore each pillar and speak with experts who can provide practical insights, strategies, and resources for attorneys. So please check back every day for the next 7 days for new episodes. Today, we're joined by the staff of the DC Bar's Lawyer Assistance Program, commonly known as LAP. For listeners who may not be familiar with the Lawyer Assistance Program, can you tell us what LAP is and who it serves?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you for having us on the podcast, Abby. The Lawyer Assistance Program was originally started in the early 1980s to help lawyers who needed help with recovery from alcohol use disorders, alcoholism. And it developed into a broader program for lawyers and law students and judges who are experiencing a range of mental health conditions, stress, anything that might be affecting their ability to practice, including mental health conditions and substance use disorders. The program is available and open to law students in DC, judges in DC, and members of the DC Bar. And we offer a range of services, including individual evaluation and short-term counseling, referrals and follow-up to outside resources, monitoring if someone needs drug and alcohol monitoring or return to work types of monitoring programs. We offer 5 different support groups, and we offer organizational services, outreach and education to legal providers in the area and actually across the country now. So we have a range of different services, all geared towards helping lawyers be better lawyers and helping them really fulfill their potential as a DC Bar member. We also have a large group of volunteers who help us. They have lived experience as lawyers and have struggled with different aspects of mental health and well-being. And so they're in a position when they're a volunteer with us to help us reach out to lawyers and connect with clients and provide additional support. So we really have a full service program, and what we're set up to do is help law students in DC, judges in DC, and members of the DC Bar get assistance when they need it.
Thank you. That really helps kind of demystify, what LAP does. Before we dive deeper, I'd love for each of you to briefly introduce yourself to the audience and just tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Denise Permay, and I'm the Associate Director of the Lawyer Assistance Program. I've been at the DC Bar since 2006, overseeing clinical and operational aspects of the LAP.
I'm Nikki Irish, the Education and Outreach Coordinator, and have been doing this work with the DC Bar and lawyers in the community since 2010.
I'm Sharon Greenbaum. I'm one of the senior counselors at the Lawyer Assistance Program. and I've been a clinician here since 2018.
And my name is Jessie Jokum. I'm the other senior counselor, and I have been with the DC Bar for the past 6 years.
Thank you all so much for being here. So, one concern attorneys have is confidentiality. Can you explain how LAP protects the privacy of those who contact the program?
Sure. Confidentiality of the LAP is written into the bar rules, the rules about the lawyer assistance program when it was originated. And as well, we also have confidentiality requirements through our individual clinical licenses. So, our occupations, we are not lawyers, we are clinicians. A few of us are social workers, and one of us is a licensed professional counselor. So, confidentiality regulations are also built into our profession. But in addition to that, a level of confidentiality limiting the contact that we can have related to client information. So the confidentiality of the LAP is protected by legislation in DC as well, and federal regulations, and then our own DC bar regulations. So we do not contact anyone about one of our clients' participation in the LAP unless that client requests that in writing, or unless there is an emergency situation that requires us to make a report. An example of that might be if somebody is experiencing suicidal intent, and then we need to get them help for that to protect them or to protect the safety of somebody else. In those cases, we would need to access outside services, which may involve conveying some information about that person's LAP participation. But those examples are extremely rare. So 99% of the time, our clients are not in that situation, and we do not have to break confidentiality for any reason. So an LAP client can be assured that their interactions, what they've told the counselor, any recommendations that the counselor has made, all stay strictly confidential and are only released if that client wants us to for some reason.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. Sharon, how do attorneys know when it might be time to reach out for support?
That's a great question. I think attorneys, you don't need to wait until you're in crisis to reach out for support. I think a good rule of thumb is to pay attention when stress and anxiety are affecting your well-being, making it harder for you to function than you normally would. And that can look like sleep issues, increased irritability, difficulty concentrating at work, just general overwhelm. And then sometimes also turning to unhealthy coping strategies. It can also just be something that's going on in your personal life, grief, a health issue, family stress, something challenging at work. And if you find yourself saying to yourself, I'm struggling more than usual, or I don't have to keep handling this alone, that's a good reason to reach out. One of the most common things we hear is, I wish I would have called sooner. And often the earlier someone reaches out, the more options they're going to have.
Yeah, so it sounds like reaching out early is really beneficial. Jessie, what happens when someone contacts LAP for the very first time?
So once an attorney reaches out to us, whether it's for one of our 5 support groups or individual counseling, we will schedule either a video or a telephonic intake session. The goal of the intake is really just to get a little bit of a brief picture about what's going on, what made them reach out for help, what is working for them, what's not working for them, and then also what is their goal in counseling. From there, we will schedule some further intake sessions, whether that also can be in person or via Zoom. And it could be anywhere from 1 to 3 sessions. During those 1 to 3 sessions, we'll get a fuller picture about what's been going on, the coping strategies they've been using, or coping strategies that they want to develop. And then from there, we can either connect them to some outside resources for more long-term counseling, continue with them for individual, or refer them to one of our 5 support group, which is our lawyer wellness support group, our women's support group, our federal support group, our ADHD support group, or our bar prep support group, which we offer 2 times a year.
Those are great resources. Thank you. And finally, Nikki, if an attorney is concerned about a colleague who may be struggling, what can they do and how can LAP help?
So the first thing I would say is trust your instincts. So if something feels off, if you're noticing someone withdrawing, appearing more overwhelmed than usual, more irritable, maybe missing deadlines, or really any change from their baseline, don't brush it aside or talk yourself out of speaking up. In a profession where people are conditioned to kind of push through and stay stoic, it's easy to tell yourself that it's not your place or to rationalize away from a hard conversation. But caring about the people we work alongside is our place, even if it involves uncomfortable conversations. And I think the most meaningful thing you can do is simply reach out directly, one-on-one in private. You do not need the perfect words or a solution. You just need to be able to say, I've been thinking about you. How are you really doing? Or, hey, I've noticed it seems like you're going through something. I care about you. I'm here. That kind of connection can really be a lifeline for someone who's struggling. And sometimes just knowing someone has noticed is enough to help that person take the first step. So we know that's not easy, right? And so if you're not sure how to approach that conversation, or if the situation feels more serious than you feel capable of handling, that's what the lawyer assistance is for. LAPs aren't just for the person who is struggling. You can call as a concerned friend or colleague or loved one. We can help coach you on how to have the conversation, help you think through what you're observing and how to reflect that back objectively, connect you with resources for the colleague, or even assist with an intervention if needed. And as you heard earlier, the LAP services are entirely confidential. And that matters because a major barrier to reaching out is often that fear that getting help or helping someone get help will affect their reputation or career. And so please, if your gut is telling you something, listen to it. The earlier someone receives help, the more options there are and the better the outcomes tend to be. And so reach out to your colleague, reach out to the lawyer assistance program, and know that you don't have to figure this out alone, and neither does your colleague.
That is solid advice for what you can do if a colleague is struggling, but what should an organization do to support its staff?
Great question, Abby. I'm going to only answer a sliver of that because there's so many things that an organization could do. But one of the ways that the lawyer assistance program can help an organization improve culture and well-being is by bringing in programming that relates to mental health, addiction, and well-being. And the LAP offers free programming done by us as clinicians, and we also bring in volunteers with lived experiences to talk about these topics. And the value in that is that it really destigmatizes the conversation, it normalizes help seeking. And one of the best parts is it can introduce attorneys who may be thinking about whether or not they need help to the lawyer assistance program, and really opens kind of that doorway for them to step into reaching out to us.
Yes, Nikki made some great points of how we can help organizations. And a lot of those presentations we have recorded, and they're available on our website for people to watch whenever they'd like to. We also have a digital library on our website with articles we've written, podcasts we've recorded, and so a whole host of material that people can read and access on their own time that might help them when they're experiencing stress or any number of mental health conditions to learn more about those conditions. And if anyone listening is interested in accessing some of those materials and learning more about what we do and accessing information that might be helpful to them, they can go into the notes for this podcast and access our website.
Well, thank you all for sharing your insights today and for the important work that you do to support members of the legal community through the Lawyer Assistance Program. And thank you all for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you, we would love to have you join us. The DC Bar Wellbeing community is open to those who want to be a part of building a healthier legal profession. Visit the DC Bar website to learn more and become a member. And there is always something happening, from live programs to on-demand resources. DC Bar Communities offers a wide range of well-being activities to meet you where you are. Head to the DC Bar website for a full list of upcoming and on-demand programs. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to Brief Encounters, and be sure to check out Toward Wellbeing, the DC Bar Lawyers Assistance Program podcast channel, for even more conversations dedicated to your well-being. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.